All right, so picture this for a second, right? You're in Nigeria and you're trying to get somewhere. Maybe you're battling that crazy Lagos traffic to reach work, or you're on one of those epic road trips to visit family in another state. Or even simpler, you're at the market buying gari and you just kind of, accept that it's there. It's funny, isn't it? We don't always stop to think about it. But yeah, no matter what you're doing, where you're going, or what you're buying, it all comes back to roads. Hey everyone, and welcome to FERMA Road Talk, the podcast that takes you on a journey behind the scenes of the infrastructure that connects us all. Our roads. Roads. They're literally the veins carrying life through every nation. But here's something wild. In Nigeria, just 18% of roads handle a staggering 70% of all goods transported across the entire country.
That's such a fascinating statistic. It really shows how critical these main arteries are to keeping everything moving.
And you know what makes it even more interesting? About 90% of all economic and social activities in Nigeria depend on these federal roads being functional. We're talking about the backbone of an entire economy.
Well, that certainly explains why road maintenance becomes such a crucial issue. How do they manage such a massive responsibility?
So here's where FERMA comes in, the Federal Roads Maintenance Agency. But get this, before 2002, Nigeria didn't even have a dedicated agency for road maintenance.
That must have created some serious problems.
Oh man, you have no idea. By the late 1990s, about 70% of federal roads were literally falling apart. Think about that. The main highways connecting major cities were basically crumbling. And that's exactly why we are doing a deep dive today into the folks who are tasked with keeping those federal roads in decent shape. We're talking about the Federal Roads Maintenance Agency, or as most people know it, FERMA. And today we're going to unpack what FERMA is, why it was created, and how its work affects the everyday lives of, well, pretty much all Nigerians.
Okay, so they're the ones looking after all those major roads that connect our states and cities.
Exactly, and they have a very specific mandate. Their main job is to make sure that those interstate highways and all the other important federal roads are safe and drivable year-round.
So we're talking about those roads like the Abuja-Kano Road or the Lagos-Benin Expressway.
Those are prime examples. Yes, now it's important to be clear about what they don't typically do. You won't often see FERMA constructing brand new roads from scratch. Their primary focus is on keeping the existing federal roads in good shape. Think of them as the caretakers, if you will, of our existing road network. They operate under the Federal Ministry of Works and Housing as a parastatal, so they're a part of this larger system that the government uses to manage all the roads and infrastructure in Nigeria.
Makes sense. So what does FERMA itself say its mission is?
Their mission statement is, and I quote, to efficiently and effectively monitor and administer road maintenance with the objective of keeping all federal roads in good and safe conditions.
Okay, so now that we have a better idea of what FERMA does today, let's rewind a bit, go back in time. How did this whole thing even start? Why was FERMA even created in the first P?
Well, believe it or not, there wasn't always a dedicated agency in Nigeria that focused solely on road maintenance. Before the early 2000s, it was handled by a department within the Federal Ministry of Works.
And it sounds like it wasn't exactly the most efficient system.
Not quite. Often the money meant for road maintenance would end up being used for constructing new roads instead.
So new construction was taking priority over keeping existing roads in good shape?
Pretty much. And as you can imagine, that didn't really work out well for the state of our federal roads. By the late 1990s, the situation was pretty dire. Reports indicated that something like 70% of federal roads were in terrible condition.
I can just imagine the state of those roads. Back then, riddled with potholes, some sections probably barely passable.
And that's precisely why in 2002 FERMA was born. The government under President Obasanjo at the time saw the urgency of the situation and decided to create a separate agency completely dedicated to road maintenance.
So it was really a response to this growing crisis, a realization that something needed to change drastically.
Exactly. And it was a significant move. For the first time in Nigeria, we had an institution whose sole focus, whose primary mandate, was to look after our existing roads. They weren't just an afterthought anymore. And the thinking behind creating FERMA was that a separate agency, more agile, more focused, could tackle the issue of maintenance much more efficiently than if it was just another department within a larger ministry. Less bureaucracy, more action.
Makes sense. So when FERMA was established, what was its main task?
Well, the law that created FERMA gave them a very clear job to monitor and maintain all federal trunk roads.
Federal trunk roads, so that's like the major highways that connect different parts of the country.
You got it. The big ones, the strategic routes that are crucial for trade, for travel, for connecting the entire nation.
So once FERMA was created, did they just jump right in and start fixing roads?
Pretty much, things moved quickly. Their first governing board was set up in January 2003, and they started setting up offices in each of the 36 states, plus the FCT here in Abuja.
So nationwide coverage from the very beginning. That was important, wasn't it, to have a presence in every state?
Absolutely. It allows them to be closer to where the problems are, respond faster, and have a better understanding of the specific needs of each region.
Okay, so we've got FERMA, an agency under the Ministry of Works and Housing, but with its own dedicated role. What's the division of labour there?
Good question. So generally the ministry handles the bigger projects, constructing new roads or doing major expansions on existing ones. Then once those projects are complete, it's FERMA that steps in to take care of the ongoing maintenance.
They become the guardians of the roads, ensuring they stay in good shape for the long haul.
That's a good way to put it. And to do that effectively, they have to have a presence all over the country. We touched on this earlier, but the way they operate is fascinating.
So what has the agency been doing since its establishment?
Well, it's pretty comprehensive. Everything from filling potholes and repairing failed sections of roads to clearing drainage systems and reinforcing bridges. And check this out. In 2004, they launched something called Operation 500 Roads.
That sounds like a massive undertaking.
Oh, it was. They rehabilitated about 12,800 kilometers of roads nationwide. And they're not slowing down. Just this year, they launched Operation Free Our Roads, specifically targeting those spots that cause major disruptions.
You know what fascinates me? The ripple effects of good road maintenance must touch every aspect of daily life.
That's exactly right. When roads are well maintained, transport costs go down, which means lower prices for consumers. It's like a domino effect that impacts everything from food costs to manufacturing efficiency.
And I imagine safety must be a huge factor too.
Let me tell you, studies show that every naira spent on proper road maintenance saves about 7 to 10 naira in future repair costs. But more importantly, it saves lives.
That kind of return on investment really puts things in perspective.
And here's something interesting about their approach. They've started implementing what they call preventive maintenance, addressing small issues before they become major problems. It's like getting regular checkups instead of waiting for something to break down completely.
That makes so much sense from both a practical and financial standpoint.
They've also gotten pretty innovative with their methods. They use different techniques and materials depending on the region. What works in the humid south might not be suitable for the arid north.
So they're really taking a localized approach to maintenance.
Exactly. And it goes beyond just fixing roads. They work with local contractors and laborers who understand the terrain and climate conditions better than anyone else, which helps create jobs in these communities too.
It sounds like FERMA's impact goes way beyond just infrastructure maintenance.
You know what's really fascinating? They're having to think about future challenges too, like how climate change might affect road durability or how increasing traffic patterns might impact maintenance needs.
That's quite a balancing act, dealing with immediate issues while planning for the future.
And when you look at the bigger picture, what they're really doing is keeping the nation's lifelines healthy and functional. It's about ensuring that people and goods can move freely and safely, ultimately contributing to the country's development and unity.
Well, I'll definitely think differently about road maintenance crews next time I see them working.
That's really what it comes down to. These aren't just workers fixing potholes, they're keeping the whole country connected and moving forward. Every smooth journey we take is thanks to their ongoing efforts behind the scenes. And that makes all the difference for Safe Trip.
That's a significant difference, especially when you're talking about travelling long distances.
And it's not just about comfort either. It's also about time, about efficiency. Think about those commercial drivers, the trucks transporting goods, the the buses carrying people. Those smoother roads mean they can get to their destinations faster. They use less fuel, and ultimately that can lead to lower costs for everyone.
Because those transport costs often get passed down to consumers, right?
Yeah, they do, south. So it's not just about how comfortable the ride is, it's about the economic impact as well. And then there's the whole issue of connectivity, which is absolutely crucial for Nigeria.
Road maintenance might not be flashy or headline-grabbing, but its importance can't be overstated. FERMA works tirelessly behind the scenes, ensuring that every time you safely reach your destination, every smooth ride you experience is made possible by their hard work and dedication. Perhaps most importantly, good roads strengthen national unity, helping Nigerians from diverse backgrounds stay connected and united. So next time you're travelling down a pothole-free road, remember it's because Federal Roads Maintenance Agency was there.
Yeah, they do. Thank you for joining us today on FERMA Road Talk. Keep tuning in as we continue exploring how vital infrastructure shapes our nation, our economy, and our everyday lives. Until next time, drive safe, stay connected, and remember the unsung heroes of our roads. FERMA.